The Finding Purpose podcast is proudly brought to you by Relive the Moments, founded by visionary entrepreneur John Lim. We live in a world where it's easy to capture memories, but Relive the Moments makes it effortless to re-experience and share them. From NFC-enabled tap coasters and photo frames to interactive video cards, Relive the Moments turns everyday objects into unforgettable tap-to-experience keepsakes. Imagine gifting a wedding guest a coaster that instantly opens your highlight reel, or giving your event sponsors a custom frame that tells your story with just one tap. Whether you're celebrating a milestone, planning a wedding, honoring a legacy, or elevating a brand experience, Relive the Moments is the bridge between the past and present, between memory and connection. It's not just a product, it's an experience. Visit www.relivethemoments.com and use promo code PURPOSE for 25% off your first order. Let's bring your memories to life, one tap at a time.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Finding Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Adam Vohra, and I'm so grateful to have you here. This podcast is all about exploring the journeys of incredible individuals, people who have faced adversity, found their purpose, and are now making an impact in their communities. But it's also about my journey. Over the years, I've faced my own obstacles, moments of doubt, and struggles with identity. Through it all, I've found my purpose in giving back, creating a space where people can detach from the negative emotions and stigmas they may associate with their own stories, just like I did with mine. Here, we have real conversations about growth, resilience, and transformation. Whether you're searching for direction, striving for personal development, or simply looking for a place to feel seen and understood, this is for you. So if these conversations resonate with you, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and connect with us on social media. Now let's dive into today's episode.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Finding Purpose podcast. I'm Adam, and I want to thank you for being here. Whether you're listening on Apple Podcasts or watching on the official YouTube channel of the Finding Purpose podcast, your support, your shares, your reviews continue to fuel this mission, and I'm incredibly grateful. Last week, we explored the healing and expressive power movement with Simone Osbach, and today's episode takes that same theme of transformation to a whole new level. Lancelot Theobald Jr. is a multifaceted professional whose journey spans elite athletics, acting, fitness innovation, and motivational mentorship. He's a former pro athlete, a performance enhancement specialist, and the creator of AB-Solute-Fusions, a registered training methodology that blends dance-driven movement with athletic power to build explosive strength, balance, and coordination. As an actor, Lancelot has earned credits in Hilo 3, Oculus, and the upcoming The Security Guard. He's also the author of They Haven't Made an Axe That Can Chop Down a Dream, where he shares his 5 keys to reinvention, helping others transform adversity into purpose-driven success. And Lancelot's story is more than just inspiring. It's nearly unbelievable. Before the age of 21, he survived a major plane crash, a near drowning, and a series of life-altering setbacks. But rather than letting that trauma define him, he used it to fuel a lifelong mission of growth, service, and reinvention. He's a speaker, a coach, a storyteller, and a living example of what it means to rise above. So I'm super grateful to have you, first off. And, I'm super grateful for just like the connection that we made, obviously through Wilfred, and then, meeting you at, I believe, the premiere of The Security Guard, which was an awesome film, and honestly an awesome experience. And then I saw you at A to B Con this past year. So we've crossed paths multiple times, and I was listening to a podcast that you were on, and there's so much in there, man. I want to just quickly kind of go through kind of your early life, where you grew up, and then we can kind of jump around because there's so much that I want to cover.
Excellent.
So maybe we could just start there.
Okay. Well, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. I'm a Crown Heights native. Moved from Crown Heights when I was 17 years old, and it was either move or continue to get in trouble. And my parents, I'm blessed enough to have a mother and father. I went to Holy Cross in Queens just to set the stage. And I used to take 2 trains and 2 buses every day to get to school. I would travel. My father would bring me to the G train, and I'd have to take 2 trains just to get to Queens in order to take a bus to get to school.
Yeah.
And, I went to a Catholic school, and, as a kid from Brooklyn, going to a Catholic school, you're getting some issues. And the second year, after being on probation for discipline probation for 2 years, the principal told my father, if we have any more problems with him, he's done. He's a good kid, but, this is a Catholic school. My father that summer picked us up and moved us to Long Island, and it changed my entire trajectory and changed my life. And so I've been living in Long Island since my junior year.
Okay.
And it changed my perspective, changed the people I was hanging around, and I wind up getting the Emily Rack Award, which is the most improved student in 4 years. So it just goes to show you how sometimes you just change your environment, and that can change your trajectory. So I appreciate my dad for doing that for me.
What was it about the environmental change? Obviously, I'm a big proponent of people, places, and things, and altering, those 3 things can, kind of change everything for you. Mm-hmm. Was it hard at first?
Yes, it was hard because I wasn't used to, being around the city and people I were hanging around with is much quicker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're fast paced. They were into different things than they were into in Long Island, and I would go back as much as I could, and I'd take the train as much as I could. And my mother would never drive me, and she did that on purpose because she figured I'd get tired of going back and forth. And sure enough, I got tired of traveling back and forth, and I started hanging out more in Long Island, and then hanging out with people that were more going in the same direction that I was.
Yeah.
I wind up being best friends with a guy that was an athlete, but he was academically a great student as well. And then I started wanting to be like that, and I started changing. And it just shows you when the people you hang around influence you. And just being around other people influenced me to do better and be better.
What town in Long Island?
Elmont.
Elmont.
Which is the first town outside of Queens.
Outside of Queens? Okay,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's when you got into athletics?
No. I'd been in athletics since I was 8 years old.
Okay.
Played on the street, and a friend of mine's who I travel with now, we travel different countries and teaching. I teach the sports enhancement, and he teaches the basketball. But he gave my dad, because he saw me on the streets and said, yo, this kid got talent. This is at 8 years old. And he said, yo, there's a league called the Hurricanes, and they're having tryouts. You need to send your son to that. He went to my house, and my father brought me down to the Hurricanes, and the rest is history.
That was basketball?
That was football.
That was football, okay.
That was football.
Well, football ended up being the sport that you leaned into, right?
That was the sport, yeah.
What position did you play?
I was running back.
Back. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Talk a little bit about your athletic career, because I think it's like a huge part of who you are and the foundation.
Absolutely. Started off in the streets playing two-hand touch with older kids, you know what I mean? And it's just, I had talent. It came from somewhere. My father was a big track guy. He was very fast, you know what I mean? They called him Speedy coming up, you know what I mean? So I had athletic talent. And somebody saw that. The guy I was telling you about, this guy, Dwayne Mitchell. And I wind up going to play with the Hurricanes, which was an incredible organization in Brooklyn. Great coaching. And then from there, I played till I was 13. And then a high school recruited me. Matter of fact, St. Francis Prep recruited me and was going to give me a scholarship. But then academically, because they're such academically, it's such a great school, I didn't get a high enough SRA scores. So Holy Cross found out about that and said, listen, you can come to our school. And I wind up going to Holy Cross, which is an all-boys school in Queens. And if I had to do it again, I would go right back to Holy Cross.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, absolutely. Because it was just about, we focused on sports and we focused on books and we focused on friendship. And that to me was the foundation of who I am as a person right now. That discipline, that consistency, that drive to be the best.
Yeah.
I learned that in high school.
I love that. And, you know, it's funny because last episode I had my friend Simone, who was a competitive dancer for years internationally. And I always love talking to competitors who competed on the highest level. And, you know, one question I asked her that I'm actually going to pose to you is when you're competing at that level, I always say that there requires kind of like a different type of animal, you know, when,
Absolutely.
you know, I don't think everyone moves with that same hunger. I want to talk about that hunger, obviously, and then you already alluded to the discipline component. Talk about those two things and how essential they were for your football career, and then we can talk about how we apply them later.
Well, you use a word which I use that many people know you, and that's animal.
Yeah.
You know, some people use that and it sounds very negative, but to me, that describes who I am. I have two different personalities, and one of them an animalistic personality. You know what I mean? And I had that because of the Brooklyn background, thinking you tough. You know what I mean? Think you better than everybody. Something about Brooklyn, you know, and you talk to people from other boroughs, yeah, these Brooklyn motherfuckers, they you know, they on another level in terms of their attitude. That's the kind of attitude I had, but I had it on the field, you know, and I loved the contact. And then I loved the discipline of having to work towards something and then having 50 other guys that are working towards the same thing. So football taught me that discipline, but it also gave me that animalistic instinct. You know what I mean? Back then, I was trying to knock people out as a running back. You know what I mean? If I was blocking you, I was trying to hurt you because that was football. Now, that's different. Now, you say that now, you might get kicked off the team or out the league. Yeah. But back then, it was about knocking you out, not to maim you, but at least take you out for a game, you know, for a play or something. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that was who I was. And as a running back, that's wild. You know, that's crazy because I was delivering the blows. It helped me, and it still helps me until this day because I have the same discipline and the same tenacity. I have never missed more than 7 days in the gym in 40 years.
Wild.
And that's real.
Yeah.
40 years. I take that discipline and that consistency is my superpower. That's the thing that allows me to do anything and everything that I'm able to do. I've been able to reinvent myself because of the consistency.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to years later, I am taking, as an artist, 3 classes a week on acting.
Really?
That's years later. That's called consistency. That's my superpower. I got that from sports. I got the discipline from understanding that you might not be the biggest, but they're not going to outwork you. And not only not going to outwork you, they're not going to outlast you. Because 40 years later, and I'm still in the gym 4 or 5 days a week. When I go in the gym, I still have that animalistic instinct. I don't talk. I go with the bump. You know, you see, I'm sharp. But in the gym, hoodie, bummy sweats, don't talk to me.
I'm the same way.
Don't talk to me because this is the only time I can go back to that animalistic instinct because that is who I am. It's that polar. I'm a great guy, but I'm an animal at the same time. You know what I mean? That's a hell of a combination. You know what I'm saying?
No, I love that, and you know, I'm the same way when I'm at the gym. You know, obviously, like career, you know, your football career would grow, and you ended up playing in college, and you ended up playing professionally. I want to talk about just like, you know, as you know, your career's growing, you're growing. What did you learn along that journey, and what were some challenges that you faced as you were climbing that ladder?
Okay. Thank you for asking that. Okay, but all right, you know I've been in the plane crash, train crash, car crash.
Yeah, I want to get into
drowned.
that shit is wild.
Right after that, before I was 21, I had the one thing that meant everything to me in the world taken from me by a person I hadn't trusted. A coach. New coach came in after 3 years. I had started my junior year. This is my year to be the superstar. He comes in and him and I clashed. Now, years later, I now understand why coaches have told me. I had a big personality back then. Again, coming from Brooklyn, coming from New York, going to school in Maine. And back then it was
University of Maine?
University of Maine.
Yeah.
Back then it was like 15 black guys on the team and in the entire school. So they didn't know what the hell was going on. I was completely different than everybody else. You know, partly because I thought I was a gift from God. After going through all those different situations and near-death experiences, you believe that you got somebody's got their hand on your shoulder. So I had a lot of confidence. They wasn't used to that. I dressed the same way I dress now. I dressed like that back in college.
It's wild.
Now everybody else was wearing sweatshirts and jeans, and the coaches just could not understand that. So anyway, new coach comes in and we clash. I miss a practice, overslept, makes me run. The next week I miss another practice, he kicks me off the team. Now I missed another practice because I had food poisoning. But he kicked me off the team and he took my scholarship. And then when I went in the office and he said to me, "Boy, that's life." First thing I said, did this motherfucker call me boy in my mind? I said, yeah. That's when I made that transition from a young boy to a man, because I had decisions to make. Was I going to allow him to do this, or was I going to fight? I decided after 2 days of sitting in my room in the dark, I was going to fight. So I went back up to that school in front of a board, fought for my scholarship. I got my scholarship back. Said, you can't do that. Now I get my scholarship back. He then says you have to come in as a walk-on. Now, if you know anything what a walk-on means, that means that you have to come in after everybody else, after camp has started, 2 weeks after camp has started, you have to come in as a new jack. Now, I've been starting since I was a junior, played my sophomore year, was in a plane crash going to that school. He did that to me. I said, no problem. I worked 7 hours a day, 6 days a week for 3 months. Came back a completely different athlete. First time I got there, got the ball, did my thing, he pulled me out. He then gave a freshman my number. So he was mentally trying to, you know what, and he was trying to blackball me. I never said a word, never complained. I would work out. After every practice, I would run 40-yard dashes right in front of the team and the coaches, because I was letting you know you wasn't going to break me. This is a different kind of dude you dealing with. The last 2 games of the season, the freshman went down and got hurt. Now they were relying on me. The first time I touched the ball, I ran for 65 yards. I ran for 3 touchdowns, 187 yards in 2 quarters. Now, if you know anything about football, that's crazy.
Yeah.
The next week, we beat a nationally ranked team with Rich Gannon on the team, who's damn near a Hall of Fame quarterback. We beat them with 14 seconds left.
What school do you play for?
I played for him, Delaware. Yeah. And then he wound up being in the NFL and killing it in the NFL.
Yeah, he played for the Raiders.
That's right. Oh, you know him. Yes.
Yeah, he played for the Raiders.
Yes. We beat them. We beat them with 14 seconds left. I became a hero. And there's one other thing. My father, after it was all said and done, we was at the bus. He sees the coach, right? And this is his opportunity to tell the coach what he thinks about what he did to me. So he looks at the coach, and I'm with him. He says, I want to tell you something. I grabbed my father, put my arm over his shoulder. I said, Dad, he ain't worth it. Come on, let's go.
That's funny.
That right there taught me I could do anything I want. There's not a thing in this world that I can't do, I can't reinvent myself into if I put my mind to it and be consistent. And that's how I've been able to do anything and everything I've wanted to do. It's based off that specific incident. And every time I start to question what I'm doing, can I do it? I always mentally go back to when he said, boy, that's life.
You know, it's crazy. I mean, I went to UMass, so you guys probably smoked us a whole bunch of times. We were terrible.
UMass?
Yeah, we were terrible at the time. Yeah, we're still terrible.
Yeah. They had a
but
good basketball team.
They had decent.
times.
They had Camby. They had a decent squad back then, but football, they're trash.
Yeah.
So like, you obviously leave there. I want to talk about that plane crash. Like,
Yeah.
that's crazy. First of all, yeah, lay that out for me.
Okay. Well, I was actually on my way up to the University of Maine. Go figure. And that was, after being recruited to different schools. And I had traveled to different schools. And every school that I traveled flew me up in this big jet. All of a sudden now I get this private airlines, Pilgrim Airlines. And I didn't want to go. Because I'm looking at this plane. I'd never seen a plane like that in my life. And I had to take a bus to the plane. I said, what is this? But I had hung out the night before all night. So I was exhausted. That wound up being a blessing because I got on the plane and went right to sleep. Now, we landed in London, Connecticut, and we picked up a couple of people. And it was this one little girl.
New London, probably.
New London, yes, New London. And there was one little girl. Her mother looked at me and asked me, could you please watch out for her? She's going to Boston and she's flying by herself. I said, no problem. I said, hello. I went right back to sleep. The next thing I know, the plane is going down like this. Now, when it's going, it's like a roller coaster. So now you're sitting in the seat, the gravity's pulling you down. I happen to wake up. The girl next to me is hysterical crying. There's people trying to knock the windows out, because the plane is on fire.
Yeah.
So the cockpit is on fire. I rub the sleep out of my eyes, and it looks like one pilot's leg is on fire and the other pilot's upper body's on fire.
That's wild.
So I'm like, this has got to be a freaking dream. I went back to sleep. I said, this can't be true. You know what I mean? And what happened was the de-icing fluid caught on fire. It was in the middle of February. So the windshield had ice all over it. So they put the de-icing fluid on. And the de-icing fluid was made out of alcohol. And the alcohol caught on fire underneath the cockpit where they were sitting. So now the cockpit is completely on fire. And these two gentlemen sat there and flew the plane while their body was on fire. The most amazing thing that I have ever, actually I didn't witness it that much, but heard. They were heroes. They were given the Medal of Honor, because who flies with their body on fire? Not to mention that the windshield was completely iced over, so they were looking out the window. So they were driving. One guy was directing the other guy, and they were looking out the window with their body on fire.
Yeah, that's
and
crazy.
They crashed in the Scituate Reservoir, and the whole plane just completely disintegrated beside the little chamber that we were in. One person died out of 10. It was miraculous. Now we had to get from off of the frozen reservoir onto the land. And the whole town, cops, everybody came to rescue us, and we made it by the grace of God.
That's wild.
It's absolutely crazy.
What was the other near-death experience?
I was in a train crash.
Jesus.
All right. 2 months later, I was in a train crash. All this happened within 6 months. Then I was in a car crash on graduation day. And then in July, right before I was leaving to go to camp for the first time, we were at Reese Beach. You know what happened with Jamal Warner? Is it Jamal Warner from the Cosbys? Remember what happened to him recently? He drowned in Hawaii.
Yes.
That situation, exact same thing happened. And people were, conspiracy theorists, they killed him. No, the water got him.
Yeah.
I know because I experienced that. We were in the water having a good time until we wasn't.
Yeah.
The water was here. Before you know, the water was up here. and took us out. And I'm trying to swim forward. And the one thing I know now is you can't swim towards the undertow. You have to swim diagonal to the undertow. So I'm swimming towards the land, and the more I'm swimming, the more it's pushing me out. And I don't know what's going on. I can't explain it, you know. And then I watched a friend of mine's who drowned right in front of me pass like that, like he was on a skateboard.
That's wild.
He panicked and didn't fight, and the water just pulled him out. So he was in front of me, and before you knew it, he was like 200 yards further out. You saw his hand go up. He was screaming bloody murder. His hand went down, and he just disappeared.
Yo, that's wild.
To this day, the plane crash ain't got nothing on the drowning, bro. That still, until this day, scars me. I mean, yeah, till this day, that is probably the most traumatic thing I've ever witnessed, ever been a part of, because it was like 1 minute we were having a good time, and the next minute we were fighting for our life, man.
Yeah.
You know, so I know exactly what Malcolm Jamal went through. I know it. I experienced it. That ain't no fun.
Yeah, no, it's crazy how much power the ocean has. And I've seen things like that happen. And I've been in like crazy undertows before. The ocean kind of freaks me out, to be honest with you. I'm more of a pool guy.
Yeah, same here. I'd
rather just sit by a pool and chill. It's a controlled environment. But
I'm with you, bro.
You know, like
I'm with you, man.
You know, like you end up going to camp. You end up your football career grows, obviously. What was the next chapter? Because is that when you got into fitness?
No.
I mean, not when you got into fitness, when you started, that you built your fitness business. And no?
That was way later. Once the last game of the season was over, last game was against Gannon and came a Hilo.
Yeah.
And everybody else was done. I was trying to figure out, because I believed, the other thing is, because you get into these different situations, I had a dream that I was supposed to be a beacon of positive light and energy to people around the world.
Yeah.
That was my purpose. I learned my purpose at 17 years old. So I always thought it was the athletics that were going to give me the platform in order to play out my purpose. I just needed the platform to be able to then affect people around the world. So I thought it was up to me to find that platform, which was professional ball. So I was looking to get my tryout.
Yeah.
So I went out and I got me an agent in Boston,
Nice.
and I got my first tryout. I got my tryout with the New England Patriots on graduation day.
Nice.
And I had received an award called the Jerry Nation Award, which is given out to all the Division I teams in New England. They give one award, and that's the Comeback Player of the Year. And I got that. So then I took that, and I went and got an agent and told him my story, and he said, I'll represent you. And he got me a tryout with the Patriots on graduation day. Didn't make it. If I had to do it again, I would do it all over again. I would miss my graduation to go for my dream. Now, I didn't make it, but I still knew that this was my destiny. So I played a year semi-pro ball.
Okay.
And then I got picked up by an international agent. Now, come on, man. Who knew they play football in Europe?
NFL Europe, right? Back in the day?
Back then, but who knew that? I mean, you know,
I
didn't
only
know
knew that because Kurt Warner was one of my favorite quarterbacks, and he played in Europe forever before he came to where did he play? The Seahawks, and then he played on the Cardinals.
I know who Kurt Warner. Yeah.
But he played on the Admirals out there for years.
But that I didn't know that. But then again, that was another thing to show me that God had his hand on my shoulder.
Oh, correction. He played on the Rams, and then he played on the Cardinals.
Right.
Not the Seahawks. He never.
But I remember the name, Kurt Warner.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but it just further let me know that I was this gift. Because you play about 9-10 games, and all of a sudden the international agent tap you on the shoulder and says, I'd like to sign you to go to Europe. After all the stuff really? Do you want to do it? Hell yeah, I want to do it. And then I went to Italy, and it was one of the best experiences I've ever had in terms of of learning a culture, meeting great people that are still in contact today. But I was beat up way more than I got beat up ever in New York, in the States.
Really?
Oh, I came back, man. I got hit. You know, again, I'm that guy that delivers the blows. So I'm not going to allow somebody to take me down. It's going to take 3 or 4, and then their tackling wasn't as sharp as so it would take 3 or 4 guys to take me down, but it was to my detriment.
Yeah.
Because they would take you down, then they'd be kneeing you in your stomach, stepping on your hands, kicking you in your head.
The rugby style shit.
Yeah, they was, the Italians was tough. They were playing that dirty ball. Yeah. And I was damaged. And when I came back to the States, I went back to play semi-pro ball after I tried out for the Jets. I didn't make it. I felt, okay, I'm going to go back, play semi-pro ball, and keep working on my speed. Because my speed, I didn't run a good time. I played 1 game and got through a ball. And instead of catching the ball, I saw somebody come and turn the other way. And the dude hit me from here and bust my face, hit me so hard it bust my face mask open and then bust my eye open right here. I took off my helmet. I took off my shoulder pads at halftime. I handed it to the coach. I said, I'll see you later, coach. He said, I'll see you next week. I said, no, I'm done. Why was I done? Because once you don't feel invincible, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over. I turned my head 1 time and it bust my eye open because I was worried about the person coming at me.
Yeah.
Once that invincibility is not there anymore, it's time to hang it up. That's like a boxer getting knocked out that first time. Like Wilder. Dante Wilder, he just keep getting knocked out, he was the baddest man on the planet. Now he just get knocked out on a regular basis. But it's because once that invincibility is in your mind, that's it. And I knew enough to say goodbye.
So after your football career came to a close, you embarked on the
entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship.
And I think like having that like entire lived experience, obviously 2 near-death experiences, and then the growth of your career, and then also the humility to be able to be like, hey, like it's time to hang it up. Bringing that into entrepreneurship, how did you use that body of work already in the early stages of establishing your entrepreneurship journey?
Well, good question. First thing I did, partner of mine came and said, let's start a sporting apparel and T-shirt business. I said, let's do it. You know what I mean? Because I thought this must have been the next journey that God had me. I said, let's go.
Yeah.
And we started creating shirts. Our first shirt was Batman was just coming out, and we came up with Black Man. And then we used the face and the chain of do the right thing. So you kind of combine 2 ideas. It was brilliant. And people was buying it all over the place. Yeah, but they was buying it in the street. So we were selling 300 and 400 T-shirts, which we thought were great, but in the scheme of things, ain't nothing. You know what I mean? But we had started a business.
Yeah.
And then we started doing sporting apparel. I had a cousin that was into designing, and he introduced me to some people that actually sew. And they started teaching us about grading and about sizing. And we started a customized sporting apparel business where we would go to schools and we'd say, we'll make anything you want. That's and awesome. We had contracts with Princeton. We had contracts with Princeton back when Princeton was in the Sweet 16 in basketball. Wow. Yeah. And they had our stuff on. So that was a big moment for us. Wagner, Rutgers, Ramapo. We had a couple of things, but it wasn't making me happy. It wasn't. I said, I did it, but this is not it. This is not the platform that I'm supposed to have. And then I met a guy in the street while selling T-shirts who was a writer and a director. And he brought 2 of my shirts and we started talking. He says, I said, what do you do? He says, I'm a writer and director. I'm getting ready to go to LA on a tour. That night we talked, had a dream. I said, this is my next avenue to go on. and I left, unfortunately, for my friend who I feel bad for. I started to be executive producer. And then I wound up becoming an executive producer. I took some classes on Broadway to learn about Broadway. That's when I learned why a theater is so expensive, because of all the unions. And, and then while doing executive producing, I started liking the in front of the camera, because I was starting to hang out with the actors. And I was like, yo, I like this. You know what I mean? And I started taking class. And then I started taking acting class. And then somebody saw me, and I became an exotic dancer first. And in fact...
Really?
Yeah. A lot of people... It's in my book. I'm not ashamed of it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't realize that unless you read the book. And some of the biggest gigs I ever had, we started in Stanford.
Oh, really?
We were the first... My crew, Chocolate Fantasy, was the first to bring exotic dancing out to Connecticut. And we started in Stanford.
Yo, that's fucking
We started
wild.
in Stanford and moved all the way up to Norwalk, Hartford. We was all over the place. But we started in Stanford. This is back when Stanford is not like Stanford now.
Yeah.
Stanford's a little more hood back then.
Yo, this is hilarious.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry. This is great. This is fucking great.
Yeah. But yup. And then from exotic dancing, somebody saw me and said, you got talent. Go check this guy out. And I went to this guy by the name of Frank West, who was starting a dance troupe of muscular guys, but he was teaching them real choreography.
Yeah.
And then I was picking it up. And he said, if you really want to dance, I'll take you to a studio. And I said, I want to really learn how to dance. And he took me to a dance studio called Bernice Johnson's, which was a famous dance school in Queens. They gave me a full scholarship. I took over 20 classes a week: modern, ballet, jazz, African, and tap. And that's how I became a professional dancer. That's right. That's
Yo,
right.
this is
It's
crazy.
It's all in the book. But it's true. That's how
I believe it. This is
But
fucking
the
wild.
entire time, everything I've done and everything I've reinvented myself into is because I thought it was ordained by God. And I thought all of these things were avenues I needed to take in order to get the platform I needed, which is the platform that I use now.
Yeah, I mean, I love the platform that you use now. And one of the things that, I pointed out in the intro was the personal development component that you've incorporated into your platform of late. I want to talk about, the 5
keys.
The 5 keys.
Yes.
I want to talk about the 5 keys.
Yes.
Because I think that's going to add just like so much value to this conversation, because, at the end of the day, I think those 5 keys are going to be integral when it comes to anyone who does listen to the podcast and listening to this episode who may not have purpose in their life but are looking for it.
Yes.
So let's talk about those.
And I want to thank you, because this is probably one of the first interviews where we really deal with the 5 keys, which is so important to the platform.
Yeah.
5 keys is this. Key number 1 is you must understand that you are all you need to get everything that you want in your life. There's nobody else that's going to do it for you. There's nobody else that's going to get you up in the morning. You have to understand that you're enough. The things that you went through have made you the individual and the unique individual that you are. And you must understand that you have to go after what you want. Nobody else. Once you get that and you understand that, then you're on your way to being unstoppable. Rule number 2 is you got to surround yourself around mentors, people that have done what you're trying to do, people that know what it is to do and be what you want to be, because they have the formula, because they've done it already. Get around them, befriend them, work for free. Do whatever you have to do to surround yourself around like-minded people, because they say that you could just get in a room with a successful person, and that heightens your success 15%. Mm-hmm. Just being around them. So imagine if you ask them questions. How do you do that? On a consistent basis. So get around people that have done what you've done. Mentors. Very important. That's rule number 2. Rule number 3 is you must educate yourself. You have to educate yourself fully on whatever it is that you're trying to do. You cannot educate yourself enough. And there's no excuses now. You know, school is too expensive, which it is, because school is off the hook right now. And, you know, it's just crazy. Like $40,000 for a semester is mad. You don't have to do that. You can get online right now and find out. Chat GPT will give you all the information you need. You know what I mean? So you have no excuse on educating yourself fully. You can never have enough knowledge about what it is that you want. So you must understand that you are all you need to get everything that you want. You must surround yourself around the people, guides and mentors who've done what you've done. You must educate yourself fully. Number 4, you got to have a relentless work ethic. You got to have the courage to be consistent. You have to have the courage to have the discipline to do it day in and day out. There's a thing they say, and I forget who made it up. It takes 10,000 hours to master something. Mm-hmm. I looked up what 10,000 hours meant. At 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, that's about 3 years and 6 months, give or take, or 4 months. Are you willing to do at least that? 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, on something that you love and you want to do, not your work, something that you love and you want to do. Mm. If you're willing to do that, stop what you're doing right now and get started, because that's all it takes. The consistency of day in, day out work and grinding until you get to where you want to go. Now, as an actor, I've been in the game 30 years. I'm just now getting traction.
Yo, pause for a second. How old are you?
I'm not even going to say.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, I've been 30 years.
You got 40 years, 30 years left to right.
30 years. And I'm still in class 3 days a week. Why? Because I love it. So find something you love to do, because when you find something you love to do, it's not work. I've never regretted anything that I've done. I don't regret the fact that I have to be in class, because every day I get a little bit better. Mm. You know, I have a saying that I say every morning: I am not who I was. I am who I am meant to become. So what I was yesterday is behind me. That ain't me no more, because I've grown. Because every day I get up and I work on myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm saying to anybody could do it. I'm nothing special. I just got the formula. And I have the courage to stay consistent with that formula. But anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. And the last one, number 5, is you got to believe you can achieve. And that's the most powerful one. Belief. True belief. People start to think they believe, but do you really believe? Because believe, when you break it down, I'm certain it's going to happen. And when you're certain, you do whatever it takes to get it done. But do you really believe? Because a lot of people talk that, I believe. Show me. But if you can follow those 5 keys, I'm promising you, there's not a thing you can't accomplish. I have utilized those 5 keys on others, and I've watched them grow. I have a group called Moms in the Hood. Okay, Moms in the Hood is a group of upward mobile white women who became famous breakdancing and hip-hop dancing, learning how to dance in their 40s and 50s. This is 25, 26 years ago, when hip-hop wasn't for the older people. It was a young, Bronx, it was young people's game.
Yeah, 90s, 2000s, yeah. I love that. That was back when hip hop was good too.
Yeah, exactly. They are known around the world. Look them up. Moms in the Hood. Look them up. Y'all who's watching this, look them up. I took that formula that I use and I put it on them. And we're still together 26 years later.
I love that. Quick break to shout out our sponsor, Relive the Moments. Founded by John Lim, they're redefining how we share memories. From tap-to-play photo frames to interactive coasters, they turn ordinary objects into powerful, shareable experiences. Perfect for weddings, events, or milestone moments. Relive, reconnect, reimagine. Check them out at www.relivethemoments.com. Now back to the show. One of the things that, specifically the last one, like I think that a lot of people believe in their vision and believe in their dream, but they don't have the belief that they can do it. And I think that's, I see that with a lot of people. Like they say all these things that they're going to do. They believe that they could happen, but like they don't believe in themselves, subconsciously and actually making it happen. But I think, that last key is really more of the lack of commitment towards the other four. Where they're, maybe they think they can do it on their own, but like they're not willing to do the work. And I think when you combine all four and you put the work and the journey as a priority, then they really, have that underlying belief, right?
Also, to add to that, because you're accurate, to add to that is the mindset.
Yeah.
It's about mindset. And one of the other things that I do besides workshops is I have an affirmations workbook, which helps you to reset the mindset, because the mindset is what is going to drive you to continue to keep going. Because you're right, people believe, but when you don't have the proper mindset, it's just a matter of time. It might take a year.
Yeah.
It might take 2 years, but the mindset has to be right. You must reconstruct the mindset. And how you do that, and the best way to do that, is through affirmations. And for those that don't know what affirmations means, it's positive words or phrases that you say to yourself on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I say affirmations every morning. Now, I'm gonna give you my regimen, so that those that are looking to change and make some changes, this is one of the ways you could do. And I got a lot of this from Wilfred LaSalle. And I've changed last 2 years, changed up because I've always been motivated, but I've watched somebody like him just shatter.
Fucking machine.
Just shatter just all odds. And I said, what the hell are you doing? And he said, I'm doing this, and I wrote it down and started doing the same thing. So this is what it's. I get up every morning, 3:30, 4 o'clock without alarm clock. Without an alarm. Every once in a while it'd be 4:30. I got up today at 4 or 5. I get up. First thing I do is I make my side of the bed. My wife is still sleeping, so I literally make my side of the bed with her in there. Why? Because they say one of the first things you need to do when you're trying to be successful is make your bed.
Make your bed.
My entire life, I never made my bed. I make my bed every day now.
Me too.
Every day.
Yep.
And that makes me feel like something. I go downstairs. First thing I do is get the phone. I don't check well, that's not true. Sometimes I wind up checking the shit. I checked it today. But I get on YouTube and I listen to motivational videos. You know what I mean? Motivational video, 20, 30 minutes the most. I then do my affirmations. My affirmation is one of them is I attract opportunity, I find solutions, I create my own success. I am not who I was, I am who I am meant to be. Another one is I am not behind. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be to get ready to where I am going. These are things that I say to myself on a daily basis. Those things alone can shift the mindset.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because it's about shift. Because you have to understand, folks, that we are controlled by our subconscious. We are controlled about how we think through our subconscious. So if you can reconstruct your subconscious, because a lot of times it's like New Year's resolutions. New Year's resolutions, everybody means well, and they believe that they're getting ready to work out for the rest of the, for this year. And within 2 weeks sometimes, or 3 weeks, they've already made an excuse of why they can't do it. Then they made an excuse the next day, and before you know it, excuses become the thing of the day, and they're back to where they came from. I mean, back to what they've been doing before. Yeah. That's because of the mindset. You mean well. Change the mindset. and it starts with affirmations. You can literally, you could change the neural pathways of the brain through affirmations.
Yeah, I think that's so important because, like, for me, I'm very attracted to people with those positive, strong mindsets, and to the point where I've almost programmed myself subconsciously to immediately reject anyone with a negative mindset, where I shut down. I don't want to interact. I don't really want you in my space.
That's right.
And, that's kind of how I roll. The affirmations for me, particularly early on in my recovery journey, played a very essential role, because prior to, getting sober and clean, my inner self-talk, my inner monologue was very negative and very hard on myself. And to the point where if someone else spoke to me the way that I was speaking to myself, I'd punch them in the face.
Right.
But I was okay talking to myself that way. So when it came down to it, just discovering, for me, it was like daily readers and a lot of the times motivational stuff on social media or on YouTube, whatever it was, I started to really lean into that. And it's funny because, I'm making this comparison because our brains are very much like the algorithms that we have in our phones. If we constantly seek out positive things in social media, our algorithm will naturally adjust and start pumping that to us. The same is with our minds.
That's
where if I'm consuming positive literature, if I am reading affirmations every morning, if I am meditating, which is a huge part of my morning routine, then my mind will reinvent itself and my mindset will take a dramatic shift. And that's exactly what happened with me and then everything that comes off of that, man. Like when you make that dramatic shift, then you talked about rooms and putting yourself in places in a proximity to power, to growth, to like-minded individuals. People like that started to show up in my life. And that was something that was really, really life-altering. Like I wouldn't be sitting here with you if I hadn't started that work within and reprogramming that internal monologue. So I love everything that you said there. And I love the way that you have pivoted in so many different avenues and applied that mindset, because there's a lot of people who, struggle with that pivot and understanding when, hey, this chapter of my life may have ran its course. Now I'm in a different season, but I can still apply that same mindset and be successful in it.
That's right.
I do want to lean into the your acting journey, and obviously how we met was through the security guard.
Yes.
And I'm a huge fan of Wilfred Lassell. I'm a huge fan of his work.
I love him, man.
I really enjoyed your role in the security guard, and I'm really, really excited about the veteran.
Yes.
I want to talk to you about how you've taken that routine into your acting career, and let's talk about the movie a bit and how you feel, this is just going to be taking not only your career, Wilfred's career, and, the team that he put together to another level.
Yes. Well, first of all, I like to say I just adore him because of who he is as an individual and where he came from. And I'm not just saying that, but I believe in giving flowers while a person is alive as opposed to let's talk about when he's dead. This is a person that I've never, relentless is the word that comes to mind when you talk about Wilfred Lassell. He used to send me, this is about 2 or 3 years ago now, like motivational videos at like 4 o'clock in the morning. This is back when I was waking up at 8. And one day I was like, what the hell time do you get up in the morning? He said, I get up at 3, 4 o'clock. I give out 1,000 emails. And I was like, really? He said, yeah, how do you think I get it? And he said, every no is a yes. And the more they say no, it just thrills me. And I just keep going. And, some of the stuff he done, like the studios will call him, and he'll call the studios and says, listen, don't call back anymore. And he'll call right back. Hey, how you doing? And he just he's relentless. And it's just, he gets what he wants because he's relentless. And I wanted to be that. And I started following some of the things that he was doing, and I implemented them and put them into what I do. And one of the reasons why I am, my next journey is as a television host like yourself. I wrote a book. I created this whole thing, The Power of Reinvention. All of that I've been able to do based off of changing and tweaking some of the things that I'm doing. And I'm becoming very successful based off of watching what other people. So you're never finished growing.
Yeah.
Never finish growing. Each day, you should be trying to get a little bit better.
Yeah, well, I love what you just said there, but you're growing, but like also by like observing other people. And now that, we surround ourselves with folks who are go-getters and who are killers in their own right, we could look at the way they move and be like, you know what, like that's good. I'm going to borrow that. And I'm going to apply it the way that I can to, further my platform and be able to, share with others. And I do that all the time.
Yes.
Because for me, it involves checking my ego and knowing, understanding that I don't know everything.
Right.
I'm very coachable. I need to remain coachable. And also, like, back when we were kids, we were like, oh, what a copycat. It's not a copycat. It's, hey, like, props to you.
Yes.
Now let's see how this can work for me. And, celebrating that mutual growth. You know, like, I don't compete with people anymore. I collaborate with people.
Right.
And I think that's super important because when you have that, like, don't get me wrong, like, I want to be on top, but no one's below me because we're all bringing each other up.
That's right.
That's
right. That's right. That's very important.
Yeah.
Because I'm learning about connection. And I was just speaking about that with the young lady. We were talking about the dancer earlier. And Simone. And it's about connection.
Oh, yeah.
And it's about connecting with people in a real way. And when you connect with people in a real way, you can't help but take and give.
Yep.
And learn. And it's nothing wrong with, I'm looking to suck up as much knowledge from anybody that I can possibly get it from to make myself better, but also to help me make somebody else better.
Yep.
And when you understand that you're not just doing it for yourself, but that you're doing it to help that other person out, all the ego and stuff goes out the door. You know what I mean?
True.
And then you're around I'm around people that think and want to do the same thing. And it's just like we just pouring into each other. It's amazing. Like this last 6 months has been phenomenal for me.
It's funny that you say that, Lancelot, because I've spoken to around 80 people here sitting across, and I find that the people who are most genuinely living in their purpose, when I ask them what it means to live purposefully, they always talk about how they're able to help others with the gifts that are bestowed upon them.
Yes.
That's always the impact that they're having. And to me, that's very much why I launched this platform, because I had a story. I had to overcome certain demons, and I had harbored a lot of shame with my story. And I started doing the public speaking with Brandon, and I started talking. And the more I shared my story, the more and more I was able to detach that shame from my story. And as I detached that shame, I kind of looked at the story and understood the power that it had. And then when you acknowledge the power that your story has, it's only selfish not to share it, because your story could help others.
Help others.
And once I realized that I was helping others because of the feedback I was getting, because of those quiet, DMs that are coming in, I saw that really had a big impact. I was like, wow, like there's no shame to my story because it's my lived experience. But if I'm not using it to help others, not make the mistakes I did, and using it as a tool for growth for others, then that's living purposefully. Right. And that's what living in purpose really means for me. You impact a lot of people through, like every kind of chapter of your life, you've impacted people. And now you're in this space where, you're building a platform to yourself to help others, become their true selves, obviously with the 5 keys and everything that you do. What does living purposefully mean to you?
Living every day with the purpose of changing people's lives through changing my life. You know what I mean? I stay up. I can't sleep a lot of times because, there's not enough hours in the day as far as I'm concerned to be able to accomplish the things that I'm trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
So I've had to make some shifts, with people that I'm around, the negativity. I have to, like you said, I have to rid myself of that because there's not enough time in the day and I can't spend time on this if I'm trying to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And my purpose of being there is to uplift. Yeah. And see, long ago, I knew what my purpose was, to be a beacon of positive light and energy to people around the world, not just locally, because I've been doing stuff locally. You know what I mean? I've been doing stuff for years, but I knew that God spoke to me. The universe spoke to me when I was 17 and said, you have a bigger purpose. Asia, Africa, that's the places you need to be at. And now figure it out. So this journey has been about figuring out how to apply my purpose. Because, in acting, they always talk about the who, what, when, and why. Purpose-wise, I've always known my what. To be a beacon of positive light and energy to people around the world. My why was always two things that keep me driven. The why was always to always find the greatness that I believed that was inside of me. The second motivation was to always show that coach that he was wrong about me and I was a better man than him then and I'm a better man than him now. That has driven me. That has driven me times when I've felt, maybe this ain't for me. Go right back to that day he called me a boy and said, that's life. That has been my why. And the how has always been the thing that's changed. From dancer to artist to philanthropist to choreographer, all those things have changed. Now it's author, talk show host, and now the program, the Power of Reinvention program. So the how has changed, but the purpose, the why, and the what has always been the same. You know what I mean? And when you know that, then you have direction.
Yeah.
I've never strayed. I might drink, but I don't get drunk. You know what I mean? I got a wife. I don't cheat. People think I ain't got time for that.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that because I know where I'm going. And I know where I'm going.
I love that. Yeah, no, I really love that. And I love that you go back to that moment when that coach
all the time,
because
all the time.
I think it's cool to have those kind of milestones because it's almost like, boom, you think of that and it's like an adrenaline rush.
Right.
It's like that dose of fuel. And, a lot of folks might say, hey, like you need to get over that. But, I am over it. I'm using it as fuel though, and I think that's important because you alluded to it earlier, Wilfred. I've heard Wilfred say that every no's a yes.
Yep.
And, you talked about a bunch of no's you had throughout your career and how you were able to pivot. And, what advice would you give to someone who is in the process of that pivot?
I would say use the things that hurt you the most. Use it as fuel to ignite the full potential that's locked inside of you. Because you could do anything you want, but you need that battery pack. You need that fuel. You need that thing that's going to spark you when you start to doubt yourself. Understand that the things that hurt you are the things that make you special. For those people that was abused mentally or physically, you came out of that. That's your superpower.
Yeah.
Don't be ashamed of that. That's your superpower. And use it. Every time you think you can't do it, think about that person that hurt you the most and use it as fuel to ignite the full potential that is locked inside of you. I do it. And interestingly enough, in 2023, when my book came out, the one person who I used their entire life to motivate me died. The coach, who was a legendary coach, got hit by a truck.
That's fucking wild.
Okay. I think they amputated his leg. I can't remember. I'm just going to say he got hit by a truck. He went back to coaching, and then something happened, and he wound up dying. And he's a legendary coach. I don't say his name. I do not say his name. And all the animosity I had towards him went out the window. And I felt for him.
As a human.
As a human, I felt for his wife who was there when he got hit. I felt for his team that they're missing a coach now. So it taught me a lot that you can use it, but it wasn't burning me up to where I hated him.
Yeah.
I was just using it as fuel. I didn't hate him.
It was almost like you're using the emotions of that moment more so than the resentment towards him.
Yes, so it was interesting because I always thought it was resentment until I found out he died, and it's like it all went out the window. And I was like, God bless his wife, who was a wonderful lady, his family, you know what I mean? And I still use it to this day, but it's not as from a sense of animosity. It's a sense of that's the fuel that drives me.
Yeah.
You know, and I would say that to other people. Don't let that person or persons who have ever hurt you pull you down. Use it to uplift you.
Yeah.
Don't allow it to drag you down.
Well, I like that you say that because, one of the biggest things for me is like not like having resentment towards individual people, but remembering how I felt in certain moments.
Right.
Because I may not even remember the details of how everything played out and who was responsible and whatnot, but I remember how I felt in some dark moments.
Exactly.
And the promise to never, ever want to feel that way again is a good way to motivate me.
Yes.
So like I really identify with those feelings more so than the people and, the circumstances, because when we start to obsess over those details, that's when we go down to that rabbit hole, and then we ourselves can turn negative or toxic or destructive and bring that into a new arena that we don't want to. So I want to talk about the veteran and what people should expect. I know you guys have been working really hard. You worked really hard all summer on it. Wilfred, he's already got those text alerts, those like the DMs. He's got everything going full throttle. Yeah. So what should everyone look forward to in this run? I know you have a leading role there.
Yes. And
I just know how much work you guys put in.
Well, the veteran is an incredible story about a veteran, a Marine, who is a hero, and he comes back home, and he gets addicted to opioids because of an injury that he had while he was over in Afghanistan fighting for his country. And there's a microcosm of America and how they treat their heroes once they come back. He winds up becoming homeless. He doesn't get the help that he needs in order to deal with the PTSD. You know what I mean? So he winds up becoming homeless. He winds up losing his family through a car accident. And it's the villain in this story is society and how we treat our heroes and how we look at them. It's almost like we discard them once they come home and don't give them the proper medical attention that they need in order to integrate back into society. That is wrong.
Yeah.
They have fought for us. Some of them have given their lives for this country, and then we just disregard them. My character, which is a guy by the name of Maxwell Cade, is a multi-billionaire, and we cross paths. Now, you don't know why until later, why I take this interest in him. But he reminds me of my brother. But my backstory is that my family was decimated through circumstance. My father he died from cancer. He found that he had cancer. He died within 6 months. My mother died of a broken heart because she missed him. My brother wound up going to Afghanistan after 9/11 because he wanted to fight for his country, and he got killed in Afghanistan. And then I lost my other brother to drugs. So I went from having a family to not having anything, but having all this money. But all that money doesn't mean anything without your family. And I see our paths cross, and I see my brother and this homeless guy. And there goes this beautiful story about humanity. I take him in, clean him up, and he winds up working. Come to find out, he was a financial guy before he went to the service. Clean him up, he winds up working for my company. But it's all in between that is this spotlight on what happens to our vets.
Yeah.
And how our vets are treated and how they get hooked on opioids, but it's not their fault. You give them the opioids are addictive, they get addicted on the opioids, and then you discard them because they're addicted.
Yeah.
And don't give them the proper help in order to get unaddicted. You see what I'm saying? And so you have that one aspect, but then you have the humanity aspect where you see these two unlikely people come together and become family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And help one another out. And it's this beautiful story. I can't wait for it to come out. It's been an honor and pleasure to play the lead. I have a wonderful my wife in this movie is just tremendous chemistry.
Love that.
So I'm looking forward to it. And it's an homage to our veterans. And I just happen to now in the last couple of months be around a lot of Marines.
Yeah.
So it's just funny how the universe works.
Of course.
You know, I'm around Marines, and now this is a story about Marines, and this is like my homage to them for their service. So it's, you know, being able to say thank you for your service in a way through the arts. So
I love that. That's so awesome, and I'm super grateful for you guys also, you know, providing like a preview, and we're gonna show it now.
Stats are. What's the ETA to target?
About 2 clicks.
Jose! Come on, man, get up. Last time I'm out, man. Let's go. I'm not trying to get in trouble. Come on.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome.
I was once considered a hero. Now, I am discarded.
What's this bullshit, man? I'm late for work. Why don't you get a job like me?
My name is Jose Torres. I am a patriot, and I love my country.
Hey, what you doing over here?
Invisible and forgotten.
well, absolutely. But the storyline here.
No, absolutely not.
Hey everybody, here I'm in Times Square, live, just here to get back to the homeless. Don't ever tell me there's no humanity left in this world, all right?
How did I get here? Who am I, you may ask? It started with pain medication.
Daddy's home.
Once a Marine, always a Marine. Gentlemen, this is war.
Surprise fire!
Marine, but you can call me a veteran.
Dude, that film looks so awesome, and I can't wait. I mean, I love how all of Wilfred's work, the first one was about, school violence, and there's always that message. And, when you meet Wilfred, he's not a political guy.
No.
But he's a guy who feels strongly about things within his community, and he's very aware of what's going around. And the message around just the support that our veterans needs.
Absolutely.
In this movie, I'm pumped. Looking forward to the premiere. Hopefully, I can bring my guy Claudio this time. And I can't wait to see it, and I'm really looking forward to it. I would love for you to actually talk to my audience, tell them how they can get in touch with you. What obviously we just talked about the movie coming up next. If there's anything in addition, and I'm just really, really grateful for this conversation.
Well, I got a website that I'm working on right now. That'll be out momentarily. But until then, you can catch me on Facebook at Lancelot Theobald, Lancelot, capital Theobald. Facebook, you can catch me on Instagram at AB-Solute-Fusion Fitness, ABSOLUTEFUSIONFTINESS, Absolute Fusion Fitness on Instagram. Those are the two ways you can get in contact with me. I'd love to share my story. I'm a motivational speaker. I also have a program called Absolute Fusion, and I'd love to come to a place near you and help you out if you're looking to go from stuck to unstoppable.
Love that. Going from unstuck to unstoppable. You provided me with a lot of fuel to get through this weekend. I'm really grateful for you coming down and just chopping it up with me, man. I want to thank all of you guys for continuing to listen, support, review. A couple shout outs I have. I do want to shout out my sponsor, Live for the Moments. They are an amazing brand. They create NFC tap technology that you can incorporate into various different items, whether it's a picture frame, whether it's coasters, whether it's keychains, to either enhance your events, enhance gift giving, whatever it is. Feel free to reach out to me. I can connect you directly with their president. Additionally, I do want to thank my guy, CV, Claudio Valenzuela of Kai Visions. Any of your content needs. You want to start a podcast, you want to do some marketing material, whatever you need, he can handle, located here in Stamford, Connecticut. And I'll be happy to connect you with him as well. You can reach out to him at Kai Visions. And, I think that's it, guys. I'm really grateful that you guys have continued to be engaging. We are on the precipice of almost reaching 100 episodes. I'm really excited about that. We're going to be packing in with, a lot of purposeful stories and captivating guests. But, keep liking, keep reviewing, and we are going to continue to build this community. Thank you.